Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of PodAskew. Fuck!
Are you ever gonna get that fucking intro right? For fuck's sake.
Are you ever gonna stop bitching about it? It's a good intro. Stop fucking with me.
No, it's stupid. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? Rico and CJ are here, and we have some guests that all wanted to jump on because, well, fucking J.J. Abrams fucking fixed Star Wars with a 1:30 trailer. I didn't think it was possible, and he fucking pulled it off. So,
You mean he gave us A New Hope?
No, he gave us The Rise of Skywalker. That's what he gave us. So, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker trailer came out, and myself, Rico, Mike, our logo designer, Chris from the Faces and Aces, and also the Dave podcast, as well as OC from the Dave podcast, we're all together, and we were like, we gotta talk about this. So, what's going on, gentlemen? How's everyone doing?
I'm great.
Doing all right. Although, I love how your cat is, like, flashing its ass at us through the camera. Can we get a little more of that?
Rico loves showing his pussy. So, you know.
Pussy butthole.
Yeah, that's some good times, man.
You know, he is a Star Wars fan, so that's why he's going to be here.
The trailer came out, guys. Do we need to watch? Do we need to watch this thing together, or do we ready to just jump in?
I've been watching it nonstop, so.
Yeah, all right.
I'm playing on a loop.
I'm pretty clear on it myself, but what about the three of you guys?
No, I've seen it a couple times.
I've seen it a couple times.
All right,
I'm assuming everybody has already seen it, especially our listeners. Because that's like the most watched thing ever.
If you're
we're talking
listening
about the
to
Aladdin
this,
trailer, right?
the Aladdin trailer, yes. If you're listening to this,
I thought we were talking about Dumbo. Didn't everyone just wouldn't go out and watch Dumbo?
didn't that already come out? Shut the fuck up.
You made no fucking
I thought we were talking about The Lion King.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, I've lost control of this already. We're fucking 2 minutes in and I've lost control.
But Disney owns it. That's the key. Disney owns what we saw.
Yeah, Disney owns everything at this point. Let's fucking be real about it.
They're listening to us right now.
On, Disney's purchasing the Deep Throat franchise next.
Oh, yeah.
Are they? What? Anyway.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie Does Disney.
Oh, Jesus.
No, Disney does Dallas.
Disney Does Dallas. We're off to a great start, guys.
For the record, I would watch Mickey Mouse Deep Throat. That would be the best fucking thing I could ever watch.
Only if he's deep throating Danny DeVito.
Only if he's deep throating Danny DeVito.
That's a callback.
I know it's a callback. Jesus.
From an episode that no one has heard yet. So.
Yeah. Well, they will have heard it by now. Anyway, I want to talk about real quick about how I saw this because I actually happened to be on Twitter as they were doing the panel at the Star Wars Celebration. So I saw a little bit of the panel with JJ and I think the whole cast, if not a lot of the cast. And then they showed the trailer. And then I will talk about what happened after the trailer in a minute. But, Chris, real quick, to your point, first off, did you see the Star Wars Celebration panel or no?
I did not watch the panel.
Okay, so to your point from the episode you were on with us a while back, Rose got a ton of love, both from the crowd and from people commenting on Twitter. So
I heard, yeah.
Whatever
I heard that
bullshit.
JJ said that one of the things that the gift that Rian Johnson gave him was Kelly Marie Tran.
Absolutely, and I'm glad because I know you brought up the point, and we agreed with you, if you remember at the time, that she took a lot of unfair bullshit for her role in The Last Jedi. So I'm glad that she's getting that redemption. I'm really happy to see that. Yeah. But okay, enough of that. Let's get into the trailer itself. I'll start with you guys. What does everyone think? Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay. Yeah, it is your show. I guess we should let you start. Yeah.
Whiny bitch. To be fair, CJ, on a personal level, you did kind of ruin it for me because you told me the title before I saw the movie.
I couldn't help it, dude.
And I'm giving you a break because you were excited and it's Star Wars and it's our fucking sort of religion in a weird way. But you did kind of like, motherfucker. Like, that's how I woke up.
Yeah.
Was like, dude, have you seen the trailer? And I'm like, oh, no shit. And then I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, fuck it.
But still doesn't ruin the trailer itself.
It didn't ruin the trailer, but you ruined the title, which is everything.
Well, yeah, you did reference in the last episode that you still haven't gotten a Star Wars trailer or Star Wars title, so what the fuck? I think was your exact quote. So
That's what I'm saying. So you did kind of screw the pooch on that one. You fucked the tauntaun on that one. But my initial...
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
What's the temperature of a tauntaun? Lukewarm.
oh, God, that's terrible.
You loved it. Shut up. So my initial thought was, okay, heavy breathing, just kind of like last trailer for the Last Jedi. Okay, and also from the first one. First trailer, we hear heavy breathing, and it's Finn rising up in the desert. So it's another lone person in a desert. And I like the costume. It looks like, traditional Jedi garb. I'm automatically like, whose lightsaber is this? Is this the same lightsaber that was broken in half in the end of Last Jedi? Or did she construct her own new lightsaber? So I automatically have a question about that. My biggest question for Rey as a character is, how the fuck did she learn how to do that flippy fucking slash, like, up, left, down, left, right, up, that square fucking move she did? That was a great scene, but I have a suspicious feeling that this is going to be like a part right almost towards the end. Like, it could very well be Kylo Ren or another antagonist riding that ship, and this is how they finally confront each other and go head to head. I also really enjoyed seeing Kylo Ren construct a new mask, because while I'm okay with the arc of him being a grandfather, worshiping Vader, lover.
Vaderite?
A Vader acolyte, having his own mask reminiscent, but it still is completely his own, and then rejecting it, and then kind of being like, no, I look more badass with a mask on instead of just my fucking face.
Well, to jump in really quick, I kind of saw that as the symbolism of JJ showing the audience that, remember all that shit that Rian Johnson broke? Look at me, I'm patching it back together and
I totally agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
100% agree. This definitely looks like a more true sequel to Force Awakens than The Last Jedi did.
And if I could step in for a second, Rico, they did say, JJ came out and said, and this wasn't on the panel, I read this on something, but he said he's basically retconning The Last Jedi. It's like it never happened.
That's gotta be a fucking people. For it's not just like a couple fans that were pissed off with The Last Jedi. J.J. Abrams was pissed off about The Last Jedi.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't he be?
I'm all for Rian Johnson making his own fucking trailer, trilogy of fucking Broom Boy, the Wonder Kid. But
I want that.
I know you want that, but
you won with that.
Yeah, you'll get it.
You won with that argument about Broom Boy, so
you will get it. But this is about the Skywalkers, so JJ knew that from the very beginning, and I didn't see a whole lot of the other characters. They kept kind of keeping them in the background, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, you get one close up of Finn, like for like a split second, his hair looks a little longer. You see Poe in the background. You see a droid. You see Lando. That was cool to see old ass Lando, as opposed to young ass Lando.
A guy I worked with actually said, just give him a Colt. He said, what did he say? He said, give me a Colt 45 in the trailer and I'm pretty happy now. So,
well, if I could deep dive, I'm kind of like really fucking happy that Lando is back with L3, the droid from Solo, because she's the computer in the Millennium Falcon.
True.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, shit. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To deep dive even further, they reference in the holiday special, C-3PO says, man, the computer for the Millennium Falcon is rude.
Yeah.
That means it was L3. So,
right.
You got to give some credit to Ron Howard and the writers for, going that deep cuts. But I was into it. And I looked at it from the very beginning. It's just like, this is generic trailer. I'm into it. And then,
yes,
cut to black, and it's all right. take my fucking money. I had no idea how much I wanted to fucking have the Emperor come back. I didn't originally because I was really gung-ho about Snoke, but maybe they're one and the same.
Well, and so, okay, I want to go back to and then I want to let the guys from the Dave podcast jump in because they've been sitting here very quietly, and also Mike, but I just want to talk about real quick that, like I said, I watched this from the Star Wars Celebration. So what happened was, JJ, as they were ending the panel, JJ gets the mic and says, hey, do you guys want to see a trailer? And the whole place goes nuts, as you would imagine, and they roll the trailer. The trailer ends, and the lights don't come back up. The theater, the stadium, whatever it is still dark, and a light comes up on stage, a red light. And Rico, help me out here because I honestly don't know his name, but the guy who plays the Emperor comes out on stage.
Ian McDermott.
Thank you. Ian McDermott comes out on stage.
Magneto?
What's that? No, that's Ian McKellen. You got your Ian's wrong. But he comes out on stage with what looks to be a lightsaber, but when he picks it up to his mouth, it is a microphone, and he says in the Emperor voice, "Roll it again," and they run the trailer a second time, and the place lost their shit. So, I mean, it was really cool to hear that cackle, and then see him come out on stage and have them run the trailer a second time.
I would have been more excited if just Ian McKellen came out for some reason. Just like, roll it again. Why is he here?
That only works if he's dressed like Magneto, though. He has to be dressed like Magneto if he does that.
Even Ian Ziering comes out. Roll it again!
Sharknado
75.
Yeah.
They replaced the laugh at the end with Vincent Price's laugh from Thriller.
That would be amazing.
That's what so I showed the trailer at work to a customer of mine, and he said, "Was that Vincent Price?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, no! What the fuck?"
So what do you think about it, OC?
Yeah, what did you think?
I don't know. Like, it looked like meh to me. It just looked meh. Bringing back the Emperor, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. I thought like, that's a weird choice, but we'll see.
I had a theory that I kicked to Rico the day that it aired, and we were talking on the phone, and I wanted to bring up here too. And Mike, I know we haven't brought you in. I apologize, but
okay.
Is what if from episode 3 when Palpatine's talking to Anakin and he talks about Darth Plagueis. What if he actually is Plagueis? What if he's not talking about a third party that we've never seen? What if he actually is Plagueis, and even though he got thrown down the exhaust vent on the second Death Star, he found a way to bring himself back, and that's why he's in this movie, because he is Plagueis. And then to Rico's point, what if he's one and the same with Snoke?
Well, I mean, just to do a little bit of comic book diving, that was one of the plot points in the Dark Empire comic book, where basically the Emperor has a shitload of clones, and when you see the energy release at the end of Return of the Jedi, that energy goes to the clone tank where he's reborn as a young Emperor.
Oh, wait, you're saying having a clone as a younger version of a character? It's,
Huh. Who would have thought about that?
You won that round, Rico.
But you can't overplay.
You
can't overplay the clone.
Because you truly are a fucking clone of Rian Johnson. I think I'm 100% correct here.
No, I mean,
you're not telling us your real fucking name because you're Rian Johnson.
You know how Liberace's boyfriend, he made him get all that plastic surgery to look just like him? Yeah. That's what me and Rian Johnson have going on. I'm his young kept boy, and over the years he's had me get more and more plastic surgery so that we can look identical.
Okay. To your point,
for the record, I don't want to know what you think I look like. I don't want to hear that.
To your point, though, Chris, if I recall, when Disney / Kathleen Kennedy took over Star Wars, they basically said the EU wasn't canon, and so I don't know if that's where that's coming from.
Oh, that's not to say that they couldn't steal, cherry pick a couple of ideas from here and there. Not saying that that's what they did. I'm just saying that exists in other Star Wars canon. But I'm actually interested to hear what Mike thought about the trailer.
Yeah, I was just about to. Mike, please, what are your thoughts, man?
I'm on board, man. I'm ready. I'm ready for this movie to come out. I mean, Last Jedi was such a disappointment to me. I wanted to wipe it from my memory as fast as I could and wait for this one to come out because I knew JJ was going to direct it and, make it a better movie than what Rian Johnson did. So I'm on board, man. I'm ready to go. I see, Rey, she looks really badass in this trailer. I think in the beginning she's actually training with Kylo Ren. I think they're doing some kind of training exercise or something's going on because I think that's his.
It is his.
It is his.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think they're doing some kind of training. Maybe they're going to obviously get together and join forces to beat a greater evil. That's going to happen in this movie.
I'm kind of with Rico. I think that's closer to the end of the movie, and I think for lack of a better phrase, Kylo goes full Vader in this movie. Okay. I think we saw that. Look.
So then why call it Rise of the Skywalker? Is Rey a Skywalker or is...
I think so,
okay.
Yeah. I think that's where it's going to come down to, is I think Rey's going to be some part of that lineage in some capacity, not the Wilson family. So, I think...
what do you have against the Wilsons, man? Poor family that grew up on Watto's Junkyard.
I didn't get to say it when we did the game, but I got to tell you that when you guys said Wilsons, I immediately went to Dennis the Menace. Yes. I was stuck on Dennis the Menace the whole fucking time, and
I thought of Home Improvement, the guy Wilson behind the fence.
Mr. Yes, Home Improvement. I didn't even think about that.
Howdy ho, howdy ho, neighbor.
Comics. There's Wilson Fisk. There's fucking
Wilson.
Wilson. There's a lot of Wilsons. Maybe that's
Wilson Phillips. Did you say
Wilson Phillips. Oh my God,
man, this is the craziest thing. But when I was a kid, I constantly confused these two people, Wilson Fisk and Carlton Fisk.
That's an interesting confusion, I gotta say.
Wait, who's Carlton Fisk?
He was a
baseball
catcher.
player. Yeah. So
he wasn't a pitcher.
No, he was a catcher.
I'm just excited we're going to get lens flares again in Star Wars. That's what was really missing.
We're getting
from Star
what?
Wars.
Lens flare.
Lens flare.
No. JJ said that he actually someone called him out on it so many times that he actually is reducing his lens flare because of his addiction. So
here's the question everybody wants to know.
Right.
We're all excited about this. Are we going to get some characters from the Fox properties in this franchise? Are we going to get a post-credit sequence with the Silver Surfer or the Fantastic Four? It's what we all want to know.
No, I know. We better not. I mean, I'm being serious. I know you're making a joke. I know that, OC, but I got to be honest with you. That's one of the things that Rico and I have talked about when we did an episode where we talked about the Fox acquisition, and we're thrilled that some of these things are going to get the crossover, the X-Men are going to finally be in the Marvel Universe and things like that, but at the same time, what we don't want is that kind of crossover. I don't want to see Iron Man on Tatooine. Fuck that.
You're saying Buzz Lightyear in Space Command
right. No, I'm serious as fuck, okay. Dude. No.
If I could jump in for 1 second, maybe that means we'll get the 20th Century Fox fanfare.
Oh shit.
That would be cool.
I didn't think about that. That would be awesome to get that back.
Because we haven't had that for the last couple movies because Disney owns it, but now Disney owns Fox, so maybe we'll get that back.
I'd love that.
I didn't even think about that, Rico. Good pull. So, getting back to the trailer itself, though, Chris, you bring up an interesting point about him rebuilding the mask and the comment you made about fixing Rian Johnson's breaking everything, but at the same time, what do you think that's one of the reasons why I think he goes full Vader, because he's going to that, having the mask and going to that side where, he's always kind of been to the dark side, but he's going even further out now and hitting that point where Anakin got to. What do you guys think?
I think it'll be a disappointment if he doesn't go full Vader in this movie, because they have another trilogy to explore what he does as full Vader. But that's kind of been, if basically these new movies have been taking the same themes from the previous 6 movies and just replaying them out, with the different backgrounds. And so we've seen a character kind of go from isolation into a world of adventure the same way that Luke Skywalker did, Rey did. We've seen one character go as the mentor figure, Han Solo replacing the role that Alec Guinness played in the original. But what we haven't seen yet is the character that starts off somewhat innocent and then turns full villain. And hopefully that's the path that Ben Solo takes and just fully embraces becomes a knight of Ren fully. And
but was he really that innocent? Like, I mean, I get the point you're trying to make, Chris. I'm not necessarily arguing against it, but like, was he really that innocent to begin with?
I would argue, yeah, because in The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker looks inside of his head. He feels the darkness, and the last thing that Luke sees before he's blown out the back of the hut is the innocent eyes looking up at him, seeing that his teacher disappointed him. Those are Luke's words.
Right.
But not necessarily talking about innocence, but the arc, the fall of someone. That's always been a theme in all the Star Wars movies, and we as of yet have not seen that. And so that way, if he doesn't fall and completely embrace, I'll be a little disappointed that, I don't want this to end up a happy end for the guy who killed Han Solo.
Well, let me ask you something, Rico. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me go through this because I want to ask all four of you guys. So each of you give me an answer on this. But and we've discussed already that they said they're retconning The Last Jedi. How much of that do we believe? And what I mean by that is do we think they're absolutely just doing away with the whole fucking movie, or are they taking little cherry picks like you talked about, Chris? Or how much do we think The Last Jedi is in this upcoming movie? And I'll start with Mike because I haven't let you talk too much.
Oh, come to me next.
Okay, come to you next. Chris, go.
I don't think that he's necessarily going to retcon it, even though that's what he said, the phrase he may have used. I think he will ignore some of the stuff that happened, explain away some of the other stuff that happened, but not necessarily rely on it as what he's going to move on with. The same way that Rian Johnson, passed on a lot of what J.J. Abrams set up.
Sure.
So I think he's going to kind of do the same thing, not intentionally as a fuck you, but I think in terms of surfacing the story that J.J. originally wanted to tell, he's going to have to do a little bit of repairing and then continue the story that he had envisioned.
OC, what do you think?
I don't see a problem with The Last Jedi. I don't know what people are mad about. My finger's not on the pulse, but I thought it was a fine movie. It was a Star Wars movie. It was a fun adventure.
I'm with you. I'm glad to hear that from you, OC. All kidding aside, because I actually do enjoy The Last Jedi. I don't hate it as much as Rico. I definitely see the flaws. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's the best Star Wars movie I've ever seen, because it's not. Right. My favorite, honestly, is still Episode 2. I know I take a lot of shit for that, but I love Attack of the Clones. That's still my favorite of the saga. But at the end of the day, I'm with you. I don't think it's as bad as people said. It's certainly not good, and there are definitely holes. There are big fucking holes.
I think it would be worse for the franchise for them to immediately, after restating what is canon with the Force Awakens, to say, okay, no, we screwed up on the second one, so we're going to throw that one. You need to have some consistency, otherwise Star Wars is going to become the X-Men movies.
Yeah, I agree. Rico, what do you think?
I agree with both parties. I think it's less likely they're going to just ignore Last Jedi, because good or bad, hate it or love it, you have to acknowledge it. You can't. Yeah. It is part of Star Wars mythology, as much as some of us may grind our teeth about it. Luke did die. If they can't unkill Luke, he is going to.
Well, finish your point, Rico. But I think you've argued against that he's dead on other episodes. So
I've argued he's not alive in more or less a jokey way, because I've said the whole light side version, dark side version, maybe he's a clone, maybe he's this, but that's really me just being a temperamental little fuck. The truth is Luke is dead, but he can come back. He's a Force ghost. That's how we're going to get him back. I mean, we haven't even touched about it, but he is the narrator of the trailer. That's Mark Hamill narrating.
Yeah.
And I did have one person actually online say, oh my God, he used the Joker laugh at the end. I'm like, you've never listened to the Joker laugh, man.
That's not the Joker laugh, yeah. Real quick, before we move on, Mike, your thoughts on my question?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think J.J. Abrams is totally going to ignore what Rian Johnson set up in Episode 8, but he's going to have to talk about points that Rian Johnson brought up about Rey's parents and other plot points are going to be important to this next movie, and I don't think he's going to ignore them. I think he's going to talk to them, flush them out in a J.J. Abrams way, and I think he's really going to save this franchise. I particularly wasn't a fan of Last Jedi. Obviously, even though it looked amazing, I thought the storyline wasn't on par with how this franchise needs to go, and I think J.J. Abrams is going to clean that up.
Right, and then we've said that, Rico. You've agreed with me Chris, I think you were on the episode where we said this too, where the Last Jedi visually is a beautiful fucking movie from a visual perspective. The story is where the problem lies, and there are certainly some big holes in the story to the Last Jedi. And to answer my own question from my side, I do think that, like everyone here has said, I think you can't just retcon the whole goddamn movie. I think you have to be able to take some of it over. I think you can get rid of certain things, like and it's kind of been an ongoing joke among the 5 of us, or whatever, how many of us there are right now. I'm tired. But the Broom Boy is going away. Like, that won't be part of this. I think that's going to be part of Rian Johnson's own individual trilogy
100%.
that he will do later. But so that
Didn't
aspect.
he get booted from that?
What's that?
Didn't Rian Johnson get booted from the trilogy?
Oh, I hadn't heard
No.
that.
No, he's still going on.
Is it still going on?
As
Okay,
far
I
as
thought
I
so,
know,
yeah.
as far as I know, he's still doing it.
Yeah, it's
He's
just
still going
not.
to make his own separate trilogy. Colin Trevorrow got fired from
From this, Colin
Oh,
Trevorrow
okay,
was supposed to. And Rico, you bring up a point. I'm just going to end my point because I'm not nearly as eloquent as you people. But Rico, I want your feedback now that we have the trailer, because you've been on board for Colin Trevorrow to direct this thing from day one, and the only reason why JJ stepped in was because of how fucked up Rian Johnson made it, and he felt like he needed to fix it. And I know you're a big Colin Trevorrow fan, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on what he is maybe missing out on the opportunity to do. You speak to it, because you're going to say it more eloquently than I will.
Okay, so a little backstory. I am a manager of the last video rental store in Oakland. Colin Trevorrow is from more or less the same neighborhood as me, and he worked at the video store 20 years previously. Now, I didn't know that. His brother came in, asked if World before I'd come out on DVD, and he gave me the whole song and dance. Oh yeah, he's my brother. He made this, and I said, oh, that's not believable. Let me see your ID. He showed me his ID. His last name was Trevorrow. Blah blah blah. So on another side note, I actually tweeted to Colin Trevorrow the other night, and he responded back, which is kind of like, oh my god, dude, Colin Trevorrow fucking tweeted back at me. I basically just said, hey, the video store needs you. When you coming back and helping us out? He's like, if it's the same video room that I remember, then you guys must have fucking hated Jurassic World. So a little side thing about Colin Trevorrow is that because I love Jurassic World, I really wanted to see his interpretation of Episode 9. I heard so many weird things that he was going to do. Like, I heard he wanted to actually film in actual outer space. Like, he wanted footage.
Whoa.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was a big deal. I'm like,
Did he also want to put a T-Rex on the Death Star? Did he want a T-Rex
What?
on the Death Star? Because it sounds like...
Look, dude,
T-Rex
fucking Steven Spielberg did Jaws and Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. You didn't see any fucking T-Rexes and sharks and
Okay,
Schindler's
but
List.
Colin Trevorrow is not Steven Spielberg. Let's be real here.
But here's the thing, is Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams, and Colin Trevorrow sort of are the new generations. Spielberg, Scorsese, Coppola, they're George Lucas. They are the kids that went to see Star Wars and Jaws and everything in the 70s and 80s, and that's why they went into film. J.J. Abrams is obviously the bigger standpoint of it. I mean, he did Super 8, which is an homage to Spielberg-type movies. It's E.T. with a fucking lot of testosterone. And then, Jurassic World, obviously Colin Trevorrow's a fucking fan of Jurassic Park. He made it different, but he was an homage to the original. Rian Johnson still falls in that same category. He's he was the kid who loved Empire Strikes Back and didn't fucking acknowledge the other ones. That's where he fits in. So they are this new generations of filmmakers that are obviously fans. They are all the kids that were in their backyard making Super 8 movies with lightsabers and whips and fedoras and shit like that. So to see Colin Trevorrow take Jurassic Park seriously, but still homage and poke fun of it, hate it or love it, love the Fallen Kingdom or hate the Fallen Kingdom, whatever the fuck, I was super excited to see his interpretation. And from what little I knew, Rian Johnson just was a better cozier upper to Kathleen Kennedy, because Kathleen Kennedy has her own thing. She has her own image. And as much shit as I talk about Kathleen Kennedy, she's been there from the very fucking beginning. She was a producer for Spielberg, and she's been on every big movie that we love. She more or less had a hand in. Like, that's just the truth. I don't give her shit for one, being a woman. I'm not that fucking frothy fanboy, but I think she was inconsistent with the ideas she had. I think Rian Johnson went a completely different direction because she was reading all the reviews that Force Awakens was too close to the original. So Rian Johnson scrapped Force Awakens and the complete masking and replica of The Force Awakens and A New Hope, went a completely different direction. And Colin Trevorrow was fucking furious because he said, this fucks up my whole third movie. This fucks up my story. One, you kill Snoke. Two, you kill Luke. What the fuck am I supposed to do? I had these ideas because he and J.J. Abrams were in agreement, and Mark Hamill. They were all in agreement that this was not how Luke is really supposed to be. Whether you love or hate The Last Jedi, whether you find it a great film or an awful film, Luke was fucking weirdly portrayed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I know you and I are on the same page in terms of whether or not we like the movie. So what do you think? Like, do you agree that that's weird for him? For Luke specifically?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit weird and out of character for sure. But, you know, I give all of these movies like so much leeway because it's like it's just a fun thing. And eventually they're all going to suck. They're going to make a Star Wars movie every year, and eventually they're going to suck. So just appreciate them for what they are. They're just a fun thing. They aren't what Star Wars was to us when we were kids. When we were kids, they were 3 movies that were this heralded thing, this perfect trilogy. And of course, they went back to it. And we have to let go of what they were and appreciate what they are, which is just a fun universe for directors and screenwriters and actors to play in. So they're just going to be fun movies that are in a universe that we grew up knowing. And eventually they'll suck. And that's fine. That's fine. It's okay.
No one wants to pay money to see a sucky movie, though. Like we endured these movies for 30 plus years, and like it's coming to an end. We need it to be fucking amazing. It's not going to be though. I know.
I wanted the Highlander movies to be good, but we got one good one, and then the rest were garbage.
Hey, I wanted Weekend at Bernie's 2 to be great, but.
Oh, that's the better Weekend at
Fuck
Bernie's.
you.
No, the second one. I mean, the second one's terrible. First one's great.
The third Weekend at Bernie's, the dead body is actually just the corpse of that franchise that they're carrying around.
Well, I mean, and we're gonna get way off for a split second, but I mean, like, that's my fear for the argument you guys made during the game with the third Bill and Ted. Like, I'm super excited for it because I'm a big Bill and Ted fan, but like at the same time, like it has the potential to suck ass, and especially considering they're basically ignoring what happens at the end of 2. But we'll talk about that off the air.
I'm friends with Ed Solomon, and it's not going to suck ass. It's going to be fantastic.
Okay. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry to say that.
He's the guy who wrote the originals.
Are you really friends with him? That's awesome.
Yeah, he bought a painting of mine.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about paintings too, but I like painting. But anyway, that's non-Star Wars related. Trying to think of what else. So we've talked about the Emperor. We've talked about what we think the interpretation from Rian Johnson is going to be. What is there anything else that we need to like?
The Return of Lando.
The Return of Lando. Yeah, I mean, first off, look, no disrespect to how am I blanking?
Billy D.
Billy, yeah, thank you, Billy D. Williams. But when I've seen him just in general walking around, he's looked rough. So I don't know if they did the de-aging shit on him or what, because he looked pretty fresh in that trailer.
Yeah, they probably spackled him with all kinds of crazy makeup and CGI and shit like that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, I could have sworn I remember seeing a photo of him in a wheelchair, like he's not doing well.
Yeah.
So I predict he's only going to be sitting in the Falcon helm.
Well, that's fine.
That shot,
I mean, look,
that shot of him screaming "woohoo" was he got to look at his paycheck, and he
Yeah,
just
right.
"Woohoo!" He wasn't expecting that much. I'm sorry we'll get back to Lando, but I just wanted to touch on something really quick. Going
Please.
way back to something that Rico said about the Emperor and potentially now Force Ghosts. I know we heard the laugh. That could be an answer to that. The Emperor may not be back. He might be the red. And I know I love this is one of your theories. The red Force Ghost. We've seen the good Force Ghosts. We haven't seen the bad ones yet. So that may be the Emperor's return.
That's a good point.
I'm glad you want to expand on this. My brother and I had a bet. After The Last Jedi ended, he was like, my brother keeps sending me theories because my brother is, I call, a closet geek. Because he grew up as like a fucking total jock rugby player. And then like when he gets really drunk, when I hang out with him, he's just like, all right, Rico, tell me about Thanos. Who the fuck is Thanos? So he'll send me these texts and he says, dude, I think Snoke infected General Hux. I think the spirit of Snoke is now residing in Hux, that fucking ginger Nazi dude. And I'm like, okay, elaborate. And he said, because he saw Kylo Ren on the ground unconscious, and then the body shifted, the remaining half of Snoke fell. And then all of a sudden, Hux slowly reaches for his blaster to kill Kylo Ren because Kylo Ren cut Snoke in half. And I'm like, yeah, but General Hux never fucking liked Kylo Ren anyways. So, yeah. But he does bring up the possibility, what if, to go with your original theory, CJ, what if Palpatine is not Plagueis? He's just Palpatine, but he knows how to become a Force ghost, but he knows how to infect. He knows how to infect and possess bodies. What if that's why Snoke looks all fucked up? Because the body is slowly deteriorating because it's not a real host. It's just an infection. And then when he gets cut in half, he jumps from body to body as he's slowly trying to bring back another original body of Palpatine. It could go weird. It can go bizarre. I mean, that's where bringing back Palpatine is a bold choice because it's like, hey, we are not forgetting the originals. We are bringing back the original bad. That's great, but it also confuses the fuck out of us. Personally, I liked Andy Serkis as Snoke. I thought I think he's a better actor and did a better portrayal of a big bad villain. He just didn't get his due diligence. He didn't get his justice on screen. He was only badass for about 30 seconds and then he got fucking cut down like a nobody.
Well, and we've talked about it real quick, just to jump in real quick. On the Blu-ray, and I'm assuming on the DVD, one of the bonus features is that you get the extended version of the Snoke scene that didn't make the movie, and you get a lot of Andy Serkis. So you're right that when it came out, you didn't get a lot of it, but he did get to flex his muscle a little bit. Anyway, go ahead, Chris. Does that look like you were going to say, or look like you were going to say something?
Yeah, I just think that Ben Solo Fate is somehow, I don't know how, but he will get burnt up and he will be encased in a Vader-type suit, and that will be his just dessert. That he will get what he's always wanted, which is being encased in a helmet for the rest of his life.
That's interesting.
What? It's super dark, but I think that's when you're writing a story, like, this is what he's always wanted. All right, let's give it to him. And since he's a bad guy now,
it's super dark, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, it's not just so all far off in left field that it just sounds like bullshit. Like, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, just as long as he doesn't go no at the end. But.
No. I do have one question, guys. I want to ask all of you. I want to hear your answer. Do you think the title, The Rise of Skywalker, doesn't mean Rey? What if it means Kylo? Because he is half a Skywalker. So what if, and this is my theory that I just sort of thought of myself, what if it's a role reversal? He's bad, but he becomes good. And what if Rey, who's good, becomes bad?
I've always wanted to see that. And I think they kind of shot their load on that with the last movie. There's not enough time to make that big of a swap and give us the motivations for that. I think if they were going to do that, we would have seen a little bit more of them coming towards the middle in the last one. They would have left it. It would have been the first one is Rey headed towards the light and Kylo kind of on his road to the dark. The middle movie would have ended with them meeting in the middle. And that's the one thing that I was a little bit disappointed in, is I kind of thought we were going to see that role reversal and it would be Rey sort of, but I think they kind of shot their load on that. I don't think they can do that.
I agree.
Yeah. Mike, what do you think?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know is an allowed answer. You don't have to have an elaborated answer. I don't know is a good answer. Chris, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Rey, because she has all the books, she's going to go on and start a Jedi Academy and train the next generation. And, from movies moving on, they will basically refer to her as the great teacher or whatever, and we'll follow a new set of Jedi that learned from Rey. But I mean, if they basically set her up to do that, to do that switch now wouldn't make a lot of sense.
And culturally, it would be so harmful to all of these little girls that are so happy to have this hero.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
So I'm going to touch on something. This is not my opinion. And Rico, I saw you grab your phone, so I think you're going for where I'm going here. Our friend Matty Granger put out a really interesting theory on Facebook, and then I think ultimately it ended up on Twitter as well. He said that the Rise of Skywalker does not refer to a person. It is what the Force is going to now be known as.
I was going to fucking say that.
Sorry.
It's going to be like a different word for Jedi or
Skywalker
or Sith or something like that. It's
Yeah.
going to be like the new noun for it.
He specifically thinks it's going to be the light side of the Force. And what I think gives credence to that, and nobody's really talked about, is Star Wars was written in blue in the trailer title. It's the first time Star Wars has been anything but yellow. It was written in blue.
The last one was red.
Was it in red?
The Last
Okay, my
Jedi was
fault.
red.
My fault. I didn't catch that. So I think Maddie has a point. I wonder if Skywalker will be what Jedi used to be. It's going to become a noun. Well, I mean, it kind of is anyway, but it not in a name, but in a title as much. And
I don't know. So Broom Boy's a Skywalker. It's like an airbender.
bingo.
Oh,
Bingo.
Exactly.
Yeah, you and the fucking Broom Boy. You and this Broom Boy. We've got to find this actor and hook you two up. I swear to God, you guys have to take a picture together or something.
I gotta jump in for 1 second. I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Please.
Matty Granger's the one who posted it, but the credit goes to Mikey, his brother.
Oh, it's Mikey. Okay, I didn't realize it was Mikey. That's my bad. Thank you, Rico. Because but it's a really interesting thought. What if Skywalker does not refer to a person? What if it refers to what the Force becomes? And I think that's a really interesting theory.
I think they'll go with a Skywalker Academy, maybe. Maybe they'll call the place where Jedi train Skywalker Ranch.
I think that, yeah.
And Luke does say.
I don't think that, because the whole point of moving on from the trilogy is you got to let go of the past. You really, at some point, you do have to let go of the past. And by referring to all future Jedis as Skywalkers, it's hard to move forward with that.
Well, that's possible. And I have a question that kind of comes off that, but Mike, you had a point you wanted to make, so please.
I was just going to say, because Luke does say in The Last Jedi that the Jedi need to die.
He does say that. Yeah, that's true. The one thing that we haven't talked about, and Rico, you and I talked about this off air, is at one point it says in the trailer the saga comes to an end. And my question is, they've already said they're going to do more Star Wars movies. They've also said there's going to be a pretty big break between Episode 9 and the next one. Now, I don't know what they mean by big. It could be a year. It could be 5 years. Who knows? If the saga comes to an end, what does that mean? Does that mean... Because if... To Mikey Maddie's point, if they're going to call it Skywalker, the saga doesn't end. So...
The Skywalker lineage ends, but the name will live on in infamy as just, it's royalty. It's like knowing Queen Elizabeth, but you don't really have, or you know what I'm trying to say.
I do.
The name lives on, but the bloodline ends. Because that was our argument, is that Star Wars is all about this fucked up family in a galaxy a long time ago, far, far away. But I think the Skywalker saga ends because they are making 2 other separate trilogies, if I remember correctly. Rian Johnson gets his, and then the guys who did Game of Thrones are doing theirs.
They're not a trilogy. I think they're just doing a series of movies, but I don't think they're technically calling it a saga trilogy. I think it's an offshoot of. I don't think it's an actual saga trilogy.
Did you guys hear about the title change that Disney now put in for all the Star Wars films now?
No.
Yes, they took the episode numbers out. They're just Star Wars A New Hope.
It's just Star Wars New Hope, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars Attack of the Clones, not Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. So it's no longer going to be episodic, which kind of fucks with me a little bit because I do like that linear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to fucking 137.
But Saga ends as like, this is the last one with a number, assholes. After this, we're just going to shove them up your ass until they suck.
They've already killed the numbers. Like, episode 4 is no longer episode 4. It's just a new hope.
Can't do that shit. What the fuck is that?
All right, Mike, what do you think?
Exactly.
That's
we'll throw out one more. Did you guys see any of the test footage that was just released about The Mandalorian?
I have not, no.
Dude, it looks fucking legit. Like, I never...
You brought up something actually on an episode a while back, Rico. I was doing some editing or listening back, and I thought of something. You hurt yourself with your own argument. It was when we did the Aquaman discussion. You talked about how if they do the Mandalorian or a Boba Fett history movie, like a backstory, you need them to hire that actor whose name escapes me, who also plays
Merrill Morrison.
Thank you. And have him be in that movie. You can't, because his head gets cut off in episode 2.
No, he's a clone of Boba Fett.
No, the original guy, the original guy who is Boba's father, Jango Fett, dies in episode 2. So you can't have him come back, and unless you want him to be the grown-up Boba. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. He's the grown-up Boba. He's going to look exactly like that. But the show, The Mandalorian, is not going to be about the Fetts. It's going to be someone else.
No, I get that.
Played by,
it just made me think about that conversation we had on the Aquaman discussion. That's all.
You misunderstood.
He's going to be a Wilson.
Shut the fuck up. Look, if it was Wilson Fett, I would be. As long as it's a Fett, you can name him or the Boba T Fett. I'm fine.
Does he need if he's Wilson Fett, does he need a fence in front of him the whole fucking time? Like, I don't know.
Howdy ho, Nancy.
Wouldn't that be great if that was his mask, though? Kind of like Lando's mask in Return of the Jedi, just covers the bottom half of his face.
Howdy ho, neighbor.
Howdy ho, Jedi.
He just looks like Walter Matthau.
Here's the thing.
He doesn't. He has the mask, but he sounds like Walter Matthau. Just like, all right, here we go.
Jesus Christ. We've covered a lot of this thing. Unless anyone else had anything else to bring up. Oh, there's one thing I did want to mention. I don't know how much conversation it's going to spark, but I did notice that because everyone focused on Rey pulling the lightsaber off her belt in the beginning of the trailer, but she also has a blaster on, and it looks identical to Han's belt that he used to wear. And I'm wondering if she found that on the Falcon and put it on as kind of like a, hey, because she and, I mean, as close as they could get for the amount of time they spent together, she was pretty close to Han. So,
and then when Lando dies, she'll put on his cape, and it'll be like, remember Hulk when he had like Thor's hammer and Captain America's shield in the comic books? She'll just be that, and she'll just have all of these relics from all of the Star Wars franchise. Han's medal, and Chewie's like bandolier.
Yeah.
Those stupid dice that they keep pushing on us.
Yeah.
Ray's going to have a giant eBay sale in like a couple weeks.
So
I do want to touch on Carrie Fisher's last appearance.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please.
On that airplane, right before she died?
Yeah. She looked great.
Yeah.
It was really sad to see her go.
Jesus.
She died doing what she loved, screaming and being high on drugs.
Oh my God! No respect for the dead.
Yeah, for real.
How dare you? She's a Disney princess now. You can't talk about her that way.
Yeah, she is a Disney princess.
She's a general, motherfuckers.
So
no, she
Xenomorph.
Anyway, Chris, what was your point before we go to the point of no one ever listening to the show ever again?
I just thought it was really nice that she's going to get a good send off. I thought the scenes were emotional. It looked to me that they possibly had used a double to shoot that, the backside of that hug. And I'm really curious to see how she's going to be represented in this film, considering that this was supposed to be Carrie's film before she passed, and they had to basically rewrite the script and use footage from episode 7, unused footage. So it's going to be interesting to see how they cut that in. But I hope they give her a proper a good send off. Do you think? Throw this out to you guys. Do you think the character of Princess Leia will live or die in this next movie?
I'm wondering if like all her scenes are going to be like flashback scenes.
No, they said they had some unused footage from, I believe, The Force Awakens that they are now somehow fitting into this movie, and that's going to be her scenes in this movie.
But I can kind of see, like, you know, J.J. Abrams has said that, like, you know, this doesn't take place immediately after Last Jedi. You know, some time has passed. So I kind of feel like, you know, Star Wars comes up on screen. The rolling crawl or whatever, the scroll, and it's going to say, like, the first line is going to be like, Princess Leia has died. The Republic is, you know, whatever, and then like every scene that you see like Carrie Fisher in is probably like her giving some kind of like crazy wisdom to Rey, saying like, you know, make sure you do this or do that. I don't think she's going to be alive in the present time of this movie. I think all her scenes are going to be flashbacks rather than
memories or something.
Exactly.
I don't know if I would like that.
That makes sense.
Because I don't know how much movie she can fill with you know, with past shoots of the last two movies. So
they can Paul Walker her, man. Paul Walker, just get somebody that looks like her. And
they said they won't do that.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams said he wasn't doing CGI like at all. Mm-hmm. So
no, that makes the most sense. Flashback.
I wish we had Joe back on here because Joe knows, or I don't know if they're friends, but I know he knows. He knows Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd. Mm. So it would have been nice to have had him on there. I'm going to throw out one more little bit of trivia for you guys. J.J. Abrams didn't know a lot of what to do here because Rian Johnson kind of fucked him over on that one. So he went and asked George Lucas. George Lucas was a consultant for J.J. Abrams of how to wrap this all up. Because
wow, really?
Look, midi-chlorians or not, he is the fucking creator of Star Wars. It would make sense that he would offer his final 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. I think,
don't know. Maybe you put Princess Leia in a refrigerator and then she just
just make her a kid.
It's all aliens, you know, because aliens are everything in Star Wars, and you know,
you can make her a clone.
I will say this: only
Wilson.
Put a nice flannel on her.
Wilson, you know, that sounds good.
I will say this, that I think that it's really kind of interesting to me, and I mean this in the best possible way, that a 2-minute and 4-second long trailer can generate 52 minutes worth of conversation. And I think that's the best tribute that any of us can ever give to Star Wars. That they will never, they can never release the fucking movie and release that trailer, and you'll still have 52 minutes worth of conversation over a 2-minute fucking trailer.
Yeah.
Now they're not going to do that, but you know what I'm saying. So I think that is the biggest tribute to what Star Wars represents.
And whether or not it's good or not, people will take both sides.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when it came out, like my closing thoughts are, when it came out, I texted OC and told him this trailer made me excited for Star Wars again, and that's something that hasn't happened in quite some time.
Agreed.
And then I also texted you and said, I'm going to take a measured approach just because I've been burned by good Star Wars trailers before. I was so excited to see Episode 1 when that trailer came out, and I was left feeling disappointed and confused. So I'm hoping for a good movie. No matter what, I think I'm going to enjoy it. It's just the level of enjoyment is kind of it's what's going to be gauged. The same way with 8. I want to put it out there. I don't hate 8, but the level of enjoyment was lower than I had for other Star Wars movies.
I think the level of enjoyment for something like 8, and fuck you, Disney, it's still 8, is
Episode 8
comes directly from the amount of confusion that comes from it. I think that's where the level of enjoyment drops, because it is so all over the place and so different than what we're used to seeing that it just made it very odd and confusing. But it does, to your point, it doesn't make it necessarily bad. And
I've watched it a bajillion times on Netflix. Yeah. That's got to say something. Yeah. I enjoy the movie.
Mm-hmm. I will say this: if 9 comes out and it makes Episode 8 work unbelievably perfect, I will retcon everything I say. I'm like, all right, Rian Johnson's a fucking genius. I don't have a whole lot of hope for that because there's a lot, they have to scramble and fix a lot of shit that Johnson introduced or took away. So, but I will state on the air, if all 3 movies work perfectly together, and there's not one jarring little middle section, I will say that Rian Johnson did a great job. I also want to throw out one little thing that Stephanie said about my whole joke about how OC is a fucking clone of Rian Johnson. She said, does OC stand for original clone?
No.
Nice. No, we've talked about it. It's Octopus Caveman, but that's still interesting. Speaking of OC,
Chris
do you
looking dumbfounded though?
yeah, right? OC, do you have a closing thought before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I hope it's good. And I'll probably like it.
I think
no matter what, it'll be a fun movie. They're all fun movies.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
I
we
hope
all
we get to
agree
see
on
R2
that.
kick ass.
Yeah.
I saw something online, and I don't want to start a whole nother round of conversation, but there's a popular thing I'm seeing where a lot of people seem to think R2 is going to die in this movie. Like he will be destroyed by the end of this movie.
Makes sense because he's Luke's droid. And with Luke gone, he kind of has no purpose.
Yeah.
I think the Falcon's going to be blown up, personally.
I think, listen, if
that's a good
they're
move.
ending, let's, hopefully we can end it right here, but let's say that if they're really going to end this saga the way they're saying with the title, the saga ends, or the word crawl, I think there's going to be a lot of death. And I don't mean necessarily people dying, but like Rico said, the Falcon being destroyed, R2 being destroyed. I think they're going to wipe C-3PO again. They wiped his mind after the third one, so why not again? Like
They just dismantle him again and put him back on Tatooine to take
Maybe.
over some other slave family.
My point is, I think there's going to be a lot of
Goes
ends, and I don't think it's just going to be the saga itself. I think you're going to have, but what I hope for is that it will be fulfilling, meaning that we're all going to be like, you know what, that makes sense. Okay, I'm okay with that. It's sad, but I get it. You know, unlike, and we always have to have a Marvel reference in our show, so unlike Infinity War, where we're all like, what the fuck? You know, we have some resolution. So hopefully we'll get some resolution with this too. Listen, thank you everybody for coming on, for talking about an hour about a 2-minute trailer, but it does mean a lot to me and Rico as the host of PodAskew to have everyone come on and do this with us. Anytime any of you want to come back, you're always welcome, of course. So thank you to the listeners, and we'll all see you on the next one.
Roll it again.